Folks, we got a wild developing story happening right now that Ryan Poles might be out of the Chicago Bears. There is a new report coming up from the Waddle and Sylvie show on ESPN 1000, and what it says is kind of alarming. If you like this type of content, make sure you hit the like button on the way in. Helps push me up in the algorithm. I appreciate that. Let's talk about it. All right, so the report coming out right now very, very simply says that Ryan Poles is unhappy with the current power structure of the team. What is the problem? So the problem is this. Ryan Poles, when he took this job, thought that he was reporting directly to ownership. In the meantime, ownership then hired President Kevin Warren, and now they've turned Kevin Warren basically into Ryan Poles' boss. Now, what does that mean broadly? Well, let's start with this. We know right now that Ryan Poles was not saddled with Matt Eberflus, but Ryan Poles had a limited list of potential coaching candidates with which to choose from, and that he made the choice based on what was given to him as his viable options from ownership. Now, that's the rumor that's gone around, and we accept this at this point as factual because it's coming from multiple sources. So there was a small list that the ownership approved. He had to choose from that list, and that was it. And that's how we got Matt Eberflus. Now, that takes us to where we are today, and that is a couple of Mondays ago, we saw a crazy video in which Ryan Poles really just kind of looked like a hostage in a crisis, if you will, sat quietly while Kevin Warren talked about what was going on. Now, Ryan, to his credit, when it was his time to speak, was just fine and said all the right things, but we are all getting a sense that there is a problem with the dynamic, and it should be noted, Kevin Warren went out of his way when answering questions to say that the ultimate decision on who the coach is in this structure is Ryan Poles, that Kevin Warren would provide feedback to it, but that ultimately the decision was Ryan Poles. Now, a lot of this gets a little bit murky, and some people have discredited it outright and said that this is not true internally. But what they are saying is still kind of alarming, and it does make a lot of sense. The information that was interesting to me was one of the main reasons that Ryan Poles took the Bears job was because he liked the direct reporting nature to the team owner. This was very appetizing to him as a general manager to report directly to ownership. There was no buffer. If he had an issue, he could go to George McCaskey. And when Kevin Warren was hired, he was frustrated with that from the start, that he never loved it. It was not a personal thing with Kevin, but it was something that he didn't like, that he went from reporting to the owner to now reporting to a team president who then reports to the owner. There had become a go-between, and he was very vocal about that to people he trusted inside the building, that maybe he never would have taken the job to begin with if he had known that this was going to be the case. This is a theory. This isn't a known thing. I wouldn't be shocked if by the end of the year there is a mutual parting of ways. Now, that leads us to where we are right now, and that is we are trying to find a new coach. Now, what we've seen so far, Thomas Brown ain't it. I like Thomas Brown. I, in fact, would love to see the team simplify this process and play super hard and play super well for Thomas Brown through the end of the year. But listen, when you come out and you've got a week to prepare, are you going to make an enormous change? No, you're not going to make an enormous change. The team is already locked in. You're play calling the plays that the previous coach has already set into place, put into play. And what did we get? We got a listless performance from the offense. We had 2 touchdowns from Caleb Williams. I take nothing away from Caleb Williams, but this team should have been locked and loaded and ready to knock somebody out, especially a team on the ropes like the 49ers. But what we ended up getting was something entirely different. We got a very weak defense that was not playing hard, that was not playing well, that just seemed to be checked out. They gave up 38 points, which was the highest number of points that they had given up, save the Chiefs game of last year. I think it was the 3rd game of the season. So that's a long time to give up very few points, and the Bears, to their credit, had been really into a lot of games, coming away with boneheaded losses, but losses that kept the team close. The first opportunity that Thomas Brown gets to show what he can do as the head coach leads to an unmitigated disaster in which the Bears score 13 points and give up 38. That's not a team that's motivated by this new head coach. So the hunt begins. The list of 5 is now a list of 4. And again, we like Thomas Brown, but we haven't seen anything special from Thomas Brown such that we would consider that he's going to be the guy going forward. There's nothing about him that says that he is head coaching material right now. This could change over the final 4 games, but as of right now, no chance. The favorite at this point, in my opinion, is most likely someone like Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel is exactly what they're looking for in that he's a quote-unquote leader of men. He's got a history with defense. All he has to do is bring in the right offensive coordinator. So there's a lot to unpack here. And, maybe or maybe not, Ryan Poles will get this opportunity to make that decision. So let me know what you think. Do you think Ryan Poles should be the guy here going forward? There's a lot of great things that he did, a lot of mistakes that he made as well, but every GM makes mistakes. It's how the coaches deal with the adversity of that GM, and he's not been adversarial. He's been beneficial to the building of this team. But the coaching, I think, has let him down. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you want to see Ryan Poles here? Do you want to see Ryan Poles gone? We'll talk to you again very, very soon.